life, the body gets a little stiffer, and so this perhaps might be more comfortable. And so today I want to have a theme of cultivating an attitude of letting go. There's a lot of stress in our world right now, and we need to let go of things that we can't control and focus on things that we can control, like having our own personal practice to help us relieve some of the gas pedal, sympathetic nervous system responses that we're all feeling together, and bring us into a moment of parasympathetic system of rest and digest, just to give us a moment of respite. So we'll start here in cat and cow. So we'll begin to move into cat and lift up into cow. So we're sitting at the edge of the seat. The feet are flat on the floor. And as we move the pelvis, the spine moves with it. It's one kinetic chain. So perhaps spring's just around the corner, and perhaps you think about flowering pots, and your pelvis would be the pot, and your spine would be that beautiful daisy that's going to grow up and out. And that daisy flows in the wind of your breath. The spine is flowing back and forth. So let's do one more of these in each direction. And then we'll come forward and we'll lean slightly forward, and we're leaning from the hip joint. So I still have all of my natural curves in my spine. As I lean forward, I want to lift one arm up and hold it up there. And then we'll bring that down and we'll lift the other arm up and hold it up there. And then we'll finish with both arms up. And then let's take the hands and place them behind the neck. And let's take it into a twisting seated chair. And then coming back to the other side. And then coming all the way back. All right, so now we'll come into hovering just off the seat. So your weight will have to shift forward to take your butt up, and you're just hovering off the seat of that chair. You have your hands on your thighs. Let the heat rise into those legs, nice and active. And then begin to sit back down onto the chair. Trust that it's there, right? All right, so we'll come into a bent leg forward fold. So letting the belly rest onto the thighs. And then pushing yourself up, let the legs go straight now and come into a straight leg forward fold. slowly begin to walk yourself up from that. And now I want to take it into a wide leg. So really widen the legs, and your torso is going to come right down through the middle. And you'll slowly begin to walk yourself up from there. All right, we'll come to a standing position, and we want the high back of the chair to be facing us. From here, we'll move into a standing cat and cow. So we want the feet to be about hip distance apart, parallel feet, and to be mindful that you're not locking your knees out. They're straight but soft. And we'll start to tuck the tail coming into a cat posture, and then lift the tail behind us, sending the heart forward into cow. And then starting at the tail, we'll tuck, pulling the belly back, letting the heart sink, the head comes in, the tail comes behind, we lift the heart up, and we gaze up to where the wall and ceiling meet. So our theme today was to cultivate a sense of ease, to allow there to be ease of movement through the hip, through the spine. And being patient, allowing each vertebrae to have its own turn, remembering that the head is part of the spine, so we're not just flopping it about, right? And then we'll come back to a standing position. All right, so now I want to do where we do a standing chair. So we'll maybe back up just a little bit. And as you sit back into chair, you can rest your arms onto the back of the seat. And then you could lift one arm up. You can bring that arm down, lift the other arm up. And then you can bring both arms down. And then go ahead and walk yourself out and make yourself into that L shape. Again, the legs are still parallel, the feet are. My tailbone's reaching back to the wall while my head reaches into the seat, and I'm pressing down with my palms onto the back of the chair. Just enjoying this nice, lovely stretch. And I'll slowly begin to walk myself in. All right, so now I'd like to do a standing wide leg forward fold, but I'd like to turn the chair around to do that so that we'll be at the seat level. So I'll take my feet wide. If you're at home, I would still keep a couple of the chair legs on the mat, so that your legs can go out wide onto the mat. That way the chair won't slip and your feet won't slip. And then you can bring your forearms down onto the seat. I'm not sure which is the best way camera-wise. Maybe I'll go this way and you can see me perhaps a little bit better. I'm not sure which is the best angle for you. But let's go ahead and come into that. And then we'll start to walk yourself up and heel toe back. And I'd like to come into a standing back bend. So again, I'm in that parallel foot stance, and I'm just gonna roll the shoulder blades back. Maybe think about having your fists in your cheeks back there, and your elbows pointing behind you as you lift up and open the heart up to the sky. Let there be a lot of ease in the chest, freedom of movement of the breath. Maybe let the corners of the mouth lift towards the eyes. And then coming back up from that to a standing position. All right, so let's bring the chair back and we'll have a seat. Today I'd like to do Warrior One on the chair. So as you sit down, you'll turn to one side so that you're kind of on the corner of the chair, and that back leg can reach straight back, while the one butt cheek's on and the back leg's reaching back, and you can take the arms straight up to the sky. So as we're here, right, this back leg's very active. It's pushing back through the heel. My foot isn't on the ground, but that's okay. We're still in a lunge position where the torso can be supported. And then we'll bring the hands down through the heart center, and we'll switch sides on the chair. So again, I make sure that my bottom is on the edge of the chair so that this one sits bone is completely supported. I work my leg back, running into my blocks, I see. And then once I've got that set up and everything's in alignment and I can feel those sensations, I take my arms straight up to the sky. Feel that strength and empowerment in the body. And then bringing it down. We'll do a kneeling lunge. And so this, at first, it feels a little tricky to trust, but we'll take one leg and the shin's gonna go underneath the chair so that that knee is dropping down. Now my sits bones are at the edge of the seat, and I reach my arms back behind me so that that helps balance out the chair a little bit. And my chair is still on the sticky mat. And I'll lift that leg up, and I'll let my other leg go underneath the chair. Again, roll those shoulder blades back and together, lifting the head up and out of the shoulders. Notice, do you have equal weight in both arms? And what could you do to even that out? Every exhale, allow that attitude of letting go to happen. Perhaps you feel some tension on that exhale, you can just let it go. And I'll bring that up. So now we'll lay down so that we're belly down on the chair. And if the hands touch the floor, that's great. And the feet can come down as well. So if you want to keep one foot on the floor and then work on lifting the one leg up, you can. I'm just doing one breath, one movement right now. Let's switch legs. Now I'd like you to push yourself up onto the chair a little bit more so that you have more pressure into your arms. I want to activate that heart and lung meridian, so I really want you to think about pressing out into the digits, into the index finger and thumb. And now my feet can no longer touch the floor, but I'll still work to lift my thigh up and off the seat. Good, let's begin to switch sides. Notice if one arm wanted to come unweighted as you did that, and how can you put equal weight back into the arms to lift that side. And then slide yourself back onto the chair and then just round over it. Nodding yes to your practice. Note any tension. And then you'll bring one hand up onto the seat and then the other. And you'll push yourself back up to a standing position. We're going to come back into that wide-legged twist. So I want you to make sure that your feet are on the mat, and some of the chair is on the mat too, because I don't want it to go anywhere. Oh, and maybe we thought this way you could see me a little bit more. All right, so we're in that wide-legged forward fold, and from there we'll go into a twist for it. So we had both arms on before. I want you to take one hand over onto the hip and turn towards that shoulder. Now the head can either be down towards the seat or looking straight off the shoulder, whichever you choose. Good, and then we'll come back and do the same thing on the other side. Good, bringing both hands on, let's begin to heel toe yourself back in. And we'll come to our standing twist towards the wall. So we'll place the foot closest to the wall on the chair. And right away we want to see, do we have equal pressure in both feet? And so what do you have to adjust to feel equal sensation there? And once you have that, you'll begin to twist towards the wall, placing your hands on the wall, keeping that equal pressure in both feet. And then coming back, and just walk around your chair to the other side. We'll do the same thing. The leg closest to the wall goes up. Right? All the toes are facing the short edge of the mat. I check to see that I have equal pressure in both of the feet, and then I begin to twist. right, so now I have a seat for a seated IT stretch. I like to, you have a strap for this, so you know, any belt at home will do. If you don't have a yoga strap, you don't need a yoga strap. So we want to bring the leg straight out in front. The strap's around the ball of the foot area. The tips of the shoulder blades are back. I'm sitting up nice and tall. And I can see all 5 of my toes. So perhaps you might need to think about putting more weight into the big toe side of the foot. And now I'm going to transfer that strap over into one hand. And I'm going to start to draw the leg across my center line. Once I've got it there, now I'm going to twist towards that leg to help deepen that a little bit. So I'm grabbing onto the back of the seat, sitting up nice and tall, letting the inhale lengthen me, the exhale to pull that leg across just a little bit more. And perhaps I want to take that bottom leg, the leg that's not being pulled across center line, and straighten it. That might help me get across the body a little bit. And then come back. All right, so I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. So let's bring the foot in. We'll start with this other foot bent. We'll find the ball of the foot, checking in to make sure I can see all 5 of my toes, putting weight into that big toe side. I start to switch the strap over. I pull the leg across the center line of my body. I grab onto the back of the seat and I twist. And then I settle into my breath. And I begin to survey the body for any tension. And on that exhale, I'm allowing it to let go. Giving myself permission to lengthen that leg and deepen into it as my body is ready to let go a little bit more. And coming back to the center. All right, so I'd like to move into a seated angle pose. So I think perhaps I would like to have the leg underneath with the short edge of the short side of the chair facing me. So that as I come over, so let me slow down just a little bit. I got a little ahead of myself. So the front leg, the foot's underneath the chair and the toes are facing the short edge of the mat. The back leg, the toes are facing the long edge of the mat. I do want to take this back heel and pull it out towards my pinky toe and take the toes here and pull it over towards my pinky toe. Now as I come into that lunge position, I can let this arm come down and rest onto the seat. And then this top arm, the one that's going to go over my head towards my eyebrow, can rest onto the back of that chair. So a nice angle, extended angle pose. I'll windmill this arm back to my hip, and then I'll push into this arm and straighten my leg, coming into triangle pose. Then I'll turn towards the seat with both hands on, and I'm going to take this foot and pivot it, and then I'm going to transfer my weight so that I put all my weight into this front foot. Coming into a version of Warrior 3, I'll lift the opposite arm up. And then stepping that in, you'll switch legs, but I'm going to turn my chair so that I can see you. All right, so remember that the toes were underneath the chair. The back toes face the long edge of the mat. The heel pulls out, the toes pull out. Good, coming into that extended angle. Windmill that arm back, push into that arm, straighten the leg to triangle pose. And turn towards the seat, pivot the back foot, transfer that weight up, lift the opposite arm, warrior three. And then bring that back and in. Let's work on a version of tree here, where the foot will come onto the seat turned out and the arms up nice and tall. You're standing here and bringing the arms all the way up towards the ceiling. One of my clients likes to call this the Captain Morgan's pose. I'm checking in. I still have equal weight in both of my feet. Drawing the hands down through the center. I'll step that foot down so it's against the chair. And then I will turn it so that the toes go underneath the seat. I'm going to reach my hand down to the back of the chair as I begin to lift up this back leg. And those toes are facing towards the long edge of the mat. The foot is flexed. That helps me to find length. If I reach my heel to this wall, and my head to that wall, that's helping me balance. My hand can come onto my hip, or it can reach straight up to the sky. Practicing balancing half moon. Challenging that balance a little deeper. You're getting stronger. I always say we get to earn these poses, right? When we put in that consistent effort and work on our themes, be mindful and stay present in the moment, we can earn new poses. And then coming all the way down. Now you would just turn around, but again, I want to stay connected to you, so I'm going to move my chair. And I'll find my foot onto the chair turned out. And then I'm going to wiggle kind of back and forth, making the adjustments that I need to so that I can find equal pressure into both of those feet. And then begin to grow the branches that work for me today. Noticing how that attitude of letting go has been coming through the practice. Each pose lets us let go just a little bit more. Drawing your hands down through the center. And I'm going to place this foot down so it's right next to the chair. And then I'll turn it underneath. And I'll find my balancing half moon on this side. So I start to lift that leg up, it's flexed, my heel's reaching to the wall. I decide where I want my hand placement to go. bring that down and I release. All right, so let's bring the chair back and set up for our Shavasana. So if you want to grab socks or a sweater, now's the time. If you need blocks to elevate the feet up. Then I want you to be able to sit back into your chair and find that nice relaxed arms and posture. Feel your bottom heavy into the mat, into your seat. All right, so today we'll start to settle into that natural breath, closing the eyes or gazing off of your cheekbones. Acknowledging that you've been somewhere sacred in your body. And then notice what parts of the body are touching the chair. Feeling that solid foundation, that support. And then noticing what parts of the body are not touching the chair. Perhaps you notice where your hands fall on your thighs, towards the knee or the hip, or somewhere in between. Feel the air in the room as it comes across the skin. Feel both feet at the same time. Feel both of your sitting bones on the chair at the same time. Notice both hands as they hold a cup of air. Feeling both ears to which you're present with my voice. How the head is floating above the shoulders. The brain evenly balanced in both hemispheres, floating like a lotus does on top of the water in July. I'm going to allow you to stay here, to keep scanning your body, checking in with it, noticing the subtle sensations. You're not rushed, please stay. Please relax. I'm giving you permission to relax. I will leave you so that you can do that. The light in me honors the light in